Finance.
Finance shit, Roy.
Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
tip.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk, shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat. Hashtag finance. Getting our racks up. Finance.
Finance shit, Roy.
Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
tip.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk, shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat. Hashtag finance. Getting our racks up. Finance.
Finance shit, Roy.
Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
tip.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk. Shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk. Shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up.
chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk, shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk, shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk. Shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk. Shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up.
on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk, shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Shout out to Bagtalk, shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk, shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
Talk. Shout out to the VIP finance group chat on Twitter. Millions of dollars being made every day.
Yo, shout out to finance chat, hashtag finance, getting our racks up. Finance shit, Roy. Yeah.
What's going on? Shout out to the finance
I
chat.
just want to give a shout out to the finance group chat. Mr. Retarded and Mr. Shooter.
Bagtalk. Shout out to them. If you're not tuned in, then you better listen.
What I try to tell you, this country, you gotta make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
All right, good evening and welcome to the Wednesday installment of the Bag Talk. We're here. I'm your host, Mr. R. As always, with me in the studio, I've got my super producer, Mr. Zenruko. What's up? What's up to D-Live and YouTube as well? I am currently getting the D-Live chat up, but my computer might explode before I can do it. All right, it's up. Cool. I think my computer is really slow because we got a bunch of people here in the Finance Chat Discord in the VC with us, and we're looking forward to a great show. We're going to be talking about the Bitcoin action that we saw the last few weeks as well as overnight. And your mic is muted, Mr. Zenruko, or is that just for the show? Oh, I can hear you, but they can't. Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Zenruko's here. Don't worry. He said what's up. You guys didn't hear him. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, sort of the warnings we've been giving you guys over the last week or so. We discussed it on last Sunday's episode. You know, Elon was playing some kind of game and we didn't know what it was. Exactly know what it is, but we've got some leading theories we'd like to share with you guys. But yeah, basically, you know, I don't have to say much. You see the Bitcoin chart. I'm actually looking at Bitcoin right now. It's not so stunning. The chart still doesn't look great. I know that that's not what people want to hear. People got massacred overnight and this morning, but yeah, it's not a pretty chart. It could still go lower. So, right out of the gate, the first piece of, my first observation, I should say, is that, maybe wait to buy the dip, right? Don't be in a rush to buy the dip. Just because the price is low right now does not mean you should buy. That doesn't mean buy. And clearly, we're not getting that many buyers, right? We can see it on the chart. If we were seeing a lot of buyers, if 37,000 for a Bitcoin looked like a good price, we would soon leave that price and go higher to 40K, to 50K. That's not happening right now. So we can just, take it easy. You can slow it down here, and then we'll see, because it went quite low. It actually went to the level that I tweeted about this morning. I said I was sending it to 28K. I was tired of the amount of disrespect I had been getting on Twitter, just in various, conversations. We're over here trying to be smart. We're trying to learn about price action, trading psychology, all these things. And meanwhile, you got a bunch of gamblers, and you tell them that their Bitcoin is going to go down, or at least it looks highly likely to go down, and they get mad at you. So I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, Mr. R was tired of the disrespect. I sent Bitcoin to 28K. We hit about 28,800, 29-ish. I count that as a win. I count that as target met. So, and I should mention, the first target was 40K. And I said, 40K looks pretty real. Below 40K looks pretty real. People didn't like that. Then I hit them with the 36K. They really didn't like that. And then I had to hit them with the 28K to finish things off. And the way we got these levels, me and Pete have sort of just been doing a little free thinking back and forth, bouncing ideas off each other. We follow some smart people, some people who aren't necessarily just tweeting, they don't have the laser eyes. They don't have the laser eyes in their Abby. They're not Bitcoin bulls. They're just looking at the chart and also the price action, which was pretty weak. And then you've got that, paired up with the fact that we're seeing Elon tweet about how it's not environmentally friendly, and he's tweeting all this negative sentiment about Bitcoin, which we noticed was happening at pretty key levels as well. This is something that we noticed when we went back. Bitcoin broke support. It wasn't necessarily due to any one person selling. It was more so that Elon would sort of wait and time his tweets to where we got to a crucial level. And at that point, you can either, bounce off that level, we could call it support, or, a lot of selling could take us below that level and much lower. So that seems to be a pattern with his tweets. And I don't know what the point of that was, right? We know that Tesla bought their Bitcoin at about 30K back in February. Early February, they bought, I don't know how much worth, but they bought quite a lot of Bitcoin. And now we're right back around that price. So maybe it was for them to load up on more Bitcoin, anticipating much more upside in the long term. Then again, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe Elon is doing a bit of coping himself. It's all up in the air. We're just going to have to see how things develop. But that's something to consider. Also, this is something me and Pete were talking about as well. Elon Musk and Tesla, they have a new gigafactory over there in China. And I'd imagine it's pretty hard to open one of those and start up business in China without having some form of contact with the CCP government. So we can pretty safely assume that Elon and the CCP have done a little coordinating, done a little talking, and we don't know much beyond that, right? Maybe Elon sent Bitcoin lower as a way of paying China. Hey, China, go short on Bitcoin, and I'm about to start tweeting a bunch of stuff, and we're going to send it lower and get you paid. Don't know what the incentive is there. I don't know if he's just a puppet for the CCP, right? I don't know if he is at their mercy, so to speak, because his business needs to do well in China. It's definitely a big market, and there's quite a few competitors there, so maybe he wants favorability. Maybe that was the end game. Pretty out there theory, but this is just some things, some thoughts we were bouncing off each other. Is Tesla trying to load up on more Bitcoin? What was the whole point of Elon's tweets? Was it more so to build a narrative to explain things as they happen? The basic explanation for what happened with Bitcoin is that, well, lots of people trade on leverage, and if you don't know what leverage is, that's where you have, I don't know, you put $1,000 into your account. But you don't just want to trade with 1,000, so your broker will let you trade with 10,000, right? They'll say, hey, here, you can borrow some of our money, trade with our money. But if you go below a certain price, your position gets liquidated, you lose all your money. It's not like buying a coin, right? Because if you buy a coin, you can buy Bitcoin at 35,000 and hold it till 10,000. No one's going to stop you. No one's going to make you sell. You can just hold it and look at, $15,000 worth of losses. But with liquidation, once you hit a certain price, your position gets closed, the money goes to the broker, and you're left with no money in that position. So the easy way to explain these flash crashes, whatever you want to call them in Bitcoin, Bitcoin losing something like 50% of its value in a 1 to 2 week span, the easy way to explain that is something called stop loss hunting, which is where, people, whales, people with large amounts of money, they can start selling Bitcoin. They can send the price of it low enough to where you hit a bunch of stop losses, right? And the way to do that, maybe looking at a chart, you can look back at Bitcoin and see, oh, okay, we did quite a bit of trading here in this, 28,000 to about, let's say 40,000 range. So you can assume quite a bit of people bought there, and maybe we make a dip back down to 28. That's going to liquidate quite a few people. Same thing with the 45 to 55 range, right? Bitcoin, a lot of people bought it there. It went higher. What happens when it comes back down? Well, quite a few people are probably leveraged. And that's the real way to make money in crypto, unfortunately. You have to take a bigger risk. You have to trade on margin or with leverage. And unfortunately, if the price goes below your liquidation value, then your position is gone. So the way to sort of see, where could the stop loss hunt be taking place on the chart? It's going to be where a lot of business was done. So like I said, between 28,000 and something like 40,000, and then 45,000 and maybe 52, 53,000. There's these zones where it spent quite a bit of time, quite a bit of buying was done. And if it were to revisit those areas and dip below them, then the people who bought there would get liquidated. So that's the simple way of explaining what the hell happened over the last week, right? And that's really, I think it was a week. I have the Bitcoin chart right here. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So over the last, let's say 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, Bitcoin went from something like 60,000 to 28,000. So yeah, just about 50% of its value lost in 2 weeks. People make the argument that Bitcoin is a good investment, but I don't think any investment that loses 50% of its value in 2 weeks is necessarily a great place to park your money. It's more so a place to speculate. And just by traditional definitions, not a great place to put your money if you're expecting safe growth. And that's the thing about Bitcoin. It crashes 50% in 2 weeks. People say, "Hey, welcome to crypto." That's what Bitcoin does. This is something that's not surprising to most people. And it was a pretty big sell-off. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of people are still quite shell-shocked, but don't expect it to go to 55,000, right? We're just bouncing around in this range right now. Maybe take your time, wait and see. And if it's going to 55,000, then what's the harm in waiting until 40,000? We're pretty close to that. We're at 37. So at least wait till we break above 40,000 and hold there meaningfully. Then maybe you can try to play it on its way to all-time highs again. But this begs the question, what is going to take Bitcoin higher? Okay. When we had this bull run, this run to 60,000, maybe 65,000. I don't know what exactly it topped out at. Maybe 69,000, right? Because fate loves irony. But anyway, when we had this bull run to the high 60s, we saw quite a number of institutions and corporations and companies add Bitcoin to their holdings, right? So we had Tesla, that was the famous one. I believe, what else? Square, was that another company? MicroStrategy. Quite a few companies were showing interest in Bitcoin, and that kind of represented a shift from, Bitcoin's not a great investment vehicle. Bitcoin is risky. Nobody wants to touch it. So where now companies are saying, okay, we'll take some Bitcoin as a form of payment. We'll hold some Bitcoin in our cash reserves. It's worth it. It goes up very fast. It's a great way for our company to make extra money. And then we had Tesla come out, Elon, I should say, come out and say, Bitcoin is not environmentally friendly, which if you think about that from the corporate standpoint, any company that buys now is basically saying, we don't care. And in this environment that we live in, highly politicized, it's not a good look for a company. So did he just sort of create a shift in the corporate approach to Bitcoin? One could argue yes, because now, like I said, any company buying is sort of disregarding that aspect of Bitcoin. Not a good look for their, green initiatives that the company probably boasts. And unfortunately, they're going to have to do something to Bitcoin, make it, I don't know, make the mining less environmentally not friendly. I read somewhere that something like 75% of Bitcoin miners already use renewable energy. So whether Elon was being, disingenuous when he said that, whether he knew better, I don't know. But it certainly does make it tough for institutions to sort of express any interest in this. And like I said, just because it's cheap right now doesn't mean it means buy. That doesn't necessarily mean that. Obviously, people aren't really buying it down here. Maybe they're buying it at this 36, 35K level. It's got some sort of a bottom there. So maybe there's buy orders set at a certain limit saying, oh yeah, 35, that seems like a bargain. If it goes down that low, I'll buy it. But nobody is saying, oh, I got to get some Bitcoin right now, and we have to buy it at 35, 40, 45K. I don't care if it's 50K. Get me some Bitcoin. That's clearly not happening. So that's why I say be careful, because we made quite a big move down to 28,000. Who's to say we don't do it again? Who's to say we don't consolidate for a while and just sort of work lower, bounce off 28K, see if we, reject that price, see if people maybe even want a lower bargain price for Bitcoin. If we know that it can go down 50% in 2 weeks, who's to say it can't touch 15K, 10K, right? So that's what I mean by, just because Elon tweeted and said Tesla has diamond hands, which if you saw my meme that I crafted up about 10 minutes before the show, I sort of did a little bit of a creative free thinking in meme format. And I noticed that Elon said Bitcoin was too expensive at like 30, 35K. But now that it touched 28K, Tesla has diamond hands. So I don't know how to make sense of that really, but those are two real tweets from Elon. So like I said, is he making some sort of narrative? Does the narrative make sense? These are all things we're trying to figure out on this show. So I don't want to go on monologue style too long. I have plenty of things to say about Bitcoin. Somebody's saying something. Hello.
Can I add something about that?
Yes, sir. What's up, Orion?
So, hey, what's up, guys? So, about Bitcoin, like one of the Elon's obviously a big driver in that from the fall we just seen, but also the fact that I'm not sure if a lot of people know this. Maybe people who mine maybe do, but I remember reading somewhere like over half or like a large chunk of the people who mine Bitcoin, they're all in China because obviously the hydroelectricity dams give them like super cheap electricity. And the thing about that is that basically China is doing a huge crackdown on not just Bitcoin but other cryptocurrencies, and all those people are basically selling off whatever they have because they're afraid of it getting confiscated from the Chinese government. So that's what my personal inference is. I'm not 100%. It's like the main drive, but I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing a massive sell off because. When China says, "Oh, no more Bitcoin," then all those miners in China right now, and it's not just Chinese nationals, but it's other people who are invested in like these these mining companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically trying to sell off while they can, pretty much. And
that's a good point. That is definitely one of the reasons that contributed to this big sell-off, and maybe we can touch on this real quick. Think about the environment, the atmosphere that was taking place over the last few weeks. Was it good for Bitcoin? All these stories coming out. Elon doesn't like it. China, I think Singapore wanted to ban it. A couple countries want to ban it. Elon doesn't like it. It's just bouncing around. It's not making new highs. It just spent quite a while bouncing off like 50s. What was the actual price? I don't want to be wrong. It spent quite a while bouncing off 60,000, briefly touched 64, 65-ish thousand. It's not like Bitcoin was going crazy. It's not like there was any reason to really anticipate any upside. Aside from people, the laser eyes, aside from Tom Brady on Twitter with laser eyes, Abby, there was no real reason for people to hop in at that time. And that's sort of when we started getting cautious, getting weary of Bitcoin, because you got to think about what this sort of environment cultivates. Is it a lot of buying, or is it a lot of sitting on the sidelines, possibly selling, possible profit taking? So that's sort of the trading psychology. Think about the environment surrounding this investment vehicle, this asset, and that all plays into the bigger picture. You know, countries want to ban it. Bitcoin miners are not environmentally efficient. Certain popular figures in culture, they don't like it. Not a good sign. Maybe just take a step back. Maybe Bitcoin goes to 100 whatever k, just not now. So that's important. That's something to note. That's something me and Pete sort of picked up on as we were going through all this news and sort of figuring out what's next for Bitcoin. Maybe we had a bit of a bias. I know Pete was looking to short it at some point, but you don't just arrive at that conclusion saying, "Oh, Elon doesn't like Bitcoin, so I'm going to short it." You probably could have made it that simple, but there's quite a lot more at play. Like Orion said, certain countries don't like it. So it cultivates this environment where people in certain countries don't want to hold it for legal reasons.
It's really bad.
Corporations don't want to buy it for environmental reasons, and then also the popular culture doesn't know what to think of it because now Elon sort of all of a sudden flip flopped on it. So that
It's
goes
just
into. Go ahead. What were you saying?
it was a Bitcoin. It's like it's weird because it's like yeah, it's the most popular currency, but it's just weird because the majority of like the world's miners and I guess you could say the supply and or most of the money is being held. It's in a country where China where obviously the government doesn't want that to happen. And when you're letting something like that, when something that we can't control, when it's like when it's that concentrated in like a certain area and they say yeah no more mining, no more engaging that currency, it's just too reliant on outside sources, which that's why I personally don't. That's why I won't ever buy Bitcoin. It's just not safe to do because, like I said, all those miners they're in China that influence the price so much, and the fact that it's being, obviously, it's being shut off now. It's getting crazy. That's like I personally, it's for me, it's too volatile because if I can't control that, if it's like Russia or something that's fine. I don't give a shit. But if it's like in China and there's big areas and that's where majority of like I guess the new coins are coming out and the where the most of the market's being moved and not from the West. It's personally very dangerous, in my personal opinion, of an investment. Like you're saying, like I would not be parking my money in Bitcoin. That's why diversifying in different coins is better. It's a lot more safer option. I mean, yeah, obviously it's not gonna maybe not have the momentum of basically pop culture when it comes to Elon and all these other big things. So it won't be moving like crazy, but it's a hell of a lot safer than I'm fucking relying on one meme man who just says a word and Bitcoin drops like 50%.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it wasn't enough for you to see, imagine you're somebody with $100 million, by the way, and you just put some money into Bitcoin, and then one Elon tweet sends it lower. Are you gonna want to hold your investment? Are you gonna want to buy anymore? Probably not. So any serious investor, which we can debate whether serious investors even look at Bitcoin. Some of them definitely do. Some companies even bought it and made a nice profit on it. But if one Elon tweet sends it lower, that's not necessarily good for the environment either, right? Just looking at the strength of Bitcoin. Oh, look, this tweet came out 5 minutes ago and it's already down 5-10 grand. I have a lot of money. Am I going to put my money into this? No. Am I going to buy the dip? Probably not, right? Because first of all, it looks like Elon could fire off a tweet any second and send it even lower. So all these things sort of work to deter any future investment in Bitcoin. And I'm not saying forever, right? Bitcoin can go higher, things can get better. Maybe for some reason, Elon's influence over Bitcoin, wanes off and people don't care about what he has to say. But I think it could take quite a while, just off, the chart, just based off price action. Could take a while for Bitcoin to consolidate, to really find a bottom, so to speak, and to really find buyers at a certain level. Because right now, like I'm saying, we're not really finding buyers. Let's see.
No, not a buyer.
Yeah, we're not really finding buyers, at least ever since the dump today. We've been holding at around 37, 35K, but I think the odds of it going back down to 30, 28,000, they're probably much higher than it all of a sudden starting a crazy run up and going up to 50, 60,000 again and then going to 100. Sure, that can happen at some point, but in my honest opinion, not for a while. And I guess this kind of transitions into my next talking point, also touching on the psychology of trading. You saw what happened with Bitcoin. It would crash wildly overnight because of these liquidations, right? Because of stop loss hunts, but it would take quite a while to get there. It's because people are, there's that classic graph. Everyone's aggressive about it. I forgot what the actual stages are. It goes up and then it goes down, and people enter denial and capitulation stage and all those things. And you can see that on the chart. It's trying to break through this price. People are not quite at terms with that yet. They're averaging down. They refuse to accept, they're coping, that kind of thing, until all of a sudden we hit a certain price, and then, people sell, people get liquidated, whatever it is. And what's up?
Going on with Ethereum? Like the market's going crazy right now with Ethereum, because now that the fact that everything's going to become proof of work versus proof of stake, right? Are you familiar with those type of concepts?
Somewhat. I'm somewhat familiar, but not enough to actually pay attention.
So like Bitcoin and Ethereum currently are on what's known as proof of work. So that's like mining. It gives you a certain amount of it basically calculates the GPU or whatever hardware you do, and it does it for you, and you get the coin in return. Personally, I personally believe that. I mean, this is not financial advice. It's my own personal opinion. I personally find that proof of stake coins are a lot more stable rather than proof of work, because proof of work coins fluctuate way too much for my taste.
Okay.
My personal, I think it's a safer investment, at least in personal opinion. And I'm not saying, it's not my words, not law, but for me personally, I advise people to invest, like give them suggestions, like POS stuff is a lot better, like Phantom, all these other like Link.
I like FTM. I do like Phantom.
In a serious investing portfolio, you should have such a small percentage in actually, it's one thing if you're trading, but in an actual portfolio, coins are not worth holding. I mean, all it is an emerging market where you don't have a lot of data on it. You don't know what the real use of it is. It's not changing people's daily lives. Basically, at this point, you're kind of just betting on
you're speculating.
It's an emerging market. It's like a new company. Whenever they enter you got to bet on their success, because there's no data what's the history of coins beside them being developed? I'm sure there's projects and a bunch of
but these things aren't going to be implemented for the next decade or so. Link, all these things do, contracts, smart contracts, all this stuff.
But when you have something like this early, where the average person can't just understand it in a simple 5-minute discussion, there's no appeal to the average. So then you have this basically cult following who's all speculating on this emerging market. Of course they're going to be easy to take advantage of, because that they're the early adopters, the first, that it just kind of sums it up. So that's a piece to go along with the crypto discussion. And one more thing, bro, whenever Bitcoin is auctioning lower, and you can just Mr. R and I were talking about the fade and fading a certain group. We're looking at, bro, if you just look at some of the things that people were saying to try to justify the price action, or trying to call a bottom, just based on TA kind of goes out the window, fibs and all that shit. I mean, the daily 200 EMA was way down there, but it has a lot more to do with psychology. So they auction it a little bit lower, and then people start to kind of freak out.
Oh.
And and start to talk about their liquidation price and what it is. As soon as you're actually thinking about that, you're not comfortable with the price that it's at or where it's going. That's that's kind of your first instinct, and you really have to listen to that, because if you knew it was totally worth it, trying to be as unbiased as possible just based on the tech, you wouldn't be as leveraged into it, or you wouldn't, you're kind of just convincing yourself, you're making a really strong bull case and not really considering anything else.
And a lot of it is also fueled by greed. I mean, everyone knows crypto as something, I can buy $1
that's
of it,
the other
and then
thing,
it goes
bro.
up.
It's how long has people have been sitting in all these different coins. They have all these price targets, and it's bro, are we all gonna get is everybody just gonna 100 times their money just by holding some $1.50, $5 coin? No, hell, that's just not how it works. That's not how a market works. If there's no proof of, if there's no everyday implementation of it, what are they selling, I mean, is it just a bunch of rich people with projects? Like, then at that point,
In like a decade from now, DeFi, like I said, crypto can take off.
But we are talking about what's happening now, and I appreciate it, Orion. But at the same time, we are just talking about what's real and what's happening now. I don't want to get. I understand your point, and I'm looking at the blockchain adoption. I just don't want people to get sucked back into this thing where they hear about, oh, we're gonna be living in the future using smart contracts. We might, or we might just get the digital dollar.
Wait, say we might. Like I said, I'm not saying it's gonna be it's guaranteed, but it's just that's what people think it's gonna be. And personally, like I agree with you guys. Like crypto should only be like a very very small percentage of your actual portfolio. It's I mean, like you shouldn't be pumping in tens of thousands of dollars if you do that. Just let's learn how to trade stocks and options.
Right.
Yeah, it's a way better ROI. But I mean, it's just like these things can happen, but like I said, it's just that it's gonna be a very long time out. And when he said to people being greedy, I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, everyone to a degree when we engage in capitalism, it's all self interest. I mean. It is a whole
but
thing.
The culture around it is my real problem, and the laser eyes and the oh, it's going to the moon, and not really thinking about the downside, which I'm trying to harp on is what got a lot of people screwed on this the last 2 weeks. Just thinking about the upside, not really considering that it's just another asset that can go down.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys may be getting ads, but like I'm constantly getting shilled on my YouTube feed or on the timeline. It's like like Weeble, for example, is now putting out these ads, Dogecoin to the moon, and all these things. I'm like, you guys are like terrible people for like for basically shilling it and saying, hey guys, this is it's not it's not 100% safe, and they're trying to make it that way. It's
right.
Like I said, like. I agree. The culture is absolutely fucking terrible. It's pretty toxic in my perspective. You're basically trying to. It's almost like they're doing pump and dump schemes, and that's not fun. That's not fun for anyone. And at the end of the day, I don't want people to be losing money. That's that's the number one thing we want to avoid.
Yeah, and that's like go ahead. Go ahead. I was just gonna say the broker makes money no matter what. So all these brokers saying we now have Dogecoin, it's going to go to the moon, but buy some before it goes to the moon. They're going to make money if you buy some and then sell it for a loss. They make money on every transaction. So that's sort of, and it's very easy to that's the thing that Pete said. Just about everyone in crypto is a beginner, right? There's a few seasoned, traders and stuff like that, but I doubt there's somebody who really understands the fundamentals, the use cases, and they also understand how to read the chart, how to read price action and volume and trade it all at the same time. So there's very few people like that. There's people like Elon who just say Bitcoin is the future, crypto is the future, and that's enough to rope people in and buy. So for the most part, everyone is a beginner in crypto, and it hasn't been long enough for us to really understand. There's no real price history. I mean, there's some. We made an all-time high at 60-something thousand now, right? And then we sold off really fast in 2 weeks. So all we know about it is it goes up and down really fast. It's open 24/7. There's no governing body. And I think there's more harm than good to be done, which is why it's important to sort of be talking about this kind of stuff, because not a lot of people talk about the downside of crypto, right? There's complete crypto bears, like, Peter Schiff or whatever. He wants to sell you some gold. But most of the people talking about crypto, they have a vested interest in either it going up, or you using their brokerage for it to go up, or you associating them with the crypto and they gain popularity through it that way, or to sell you something that's not crypto, right? Oh, crypto is going to go to $0 at the end of the month. Buy gold from my website, something like that. And yeah, so I mean, I think it's important. Just realize everyone in this is a beginner. Everyone's talking about the future use cases and stuff, but it has yet to be really implemented. I'm sure some companies and some organizations, they use smart contracts or something now, and I'm sure there's and that's the thing, the blockchain and crypto, not necessarily the same thing. The blockchain is good for storing data and even making it public, things like that, and crypto is good for the average idiot to hop into with whatever $1,000 and then hodl it and hope that it goes to the moon.
Hey, man.
I'm right there with you. I'm talking about myself. Annoying Anglo from the DLAT chat with a great point says, Crypto is more often than not the realm of schizos, speculators, and snake oil salesmen. It's very true. And also think about the people on the outside of the industry, not necessarily invested in it, but they want to tell you all about how it's going to go up or how it's going to go to zero and why you should be with them, buying their service, buying their course, buying whatever they're selling, right? Um, and Annoying Anglo says the more crypto shows up on publicly traded companies' balance sheets, the more likely heavy-handed regulations come in. That's also a good point. It's largely unregulated. Any company hopping in now is sort of going against the grain in that sense. And combine that with the whole, it's bad for the environment. Not a good look for a company to be hopping in right now. Not necessarily the environment or the atmosphere that's going to cultivate all sorts of future developments. So for now, and especially with the state of the economy, the dollar, we can make an argument that the dollar will crash and crypto will go up. But I don't know about that either, to be quite honest. And crypto is quite closely correlated with markets in general, the S&P 500, that sort of thing. And it takes a bigger dive than everything else. So I don't see its
Yeah,
value from that
dollar
perspective.
and the dollar losing value, I highly doubt that's going to happen. The Feds, the government's way too invested to let the dollar crash like that.
Which is why I think more than likely we have crypto for a few years. Everyone has fun. Most people lose money. We went to the moon, whatever, rocket emoji, and then we get a very serious shift towards a digital dollar. And all of a sudden,
Dollar is
every dollar that you
eventually gonna.
spend, which we have digital dollars, they're in your online banking app. You just, you don't necessarily see them that way. But eventually, let's just say they have to get rid of the paper dollar. And now every dollar you spend is easily traceable, accountable. You know exactly where it goes. You know exactly where it came from. You can't lose any of them. You can lose a paper dollar bill very easily. You go and lose it in the laundry or something, right? Can't exactly do that with crypto. And that's not necessarily what we want, especially if you have that in unison with the blockchain, which is used to maybe keep track of all of your spending, maybe even make it public info for everybody. That is a powerful tool that could be used to control people for sure. Somebody comes up to you and views your spending. Maybe it's an employer, maybe it's just on social media, maybe it becomes public info for real. And they see that you're not donating 25% of your weekly paycheck to whatever political cause is the hot button topic, the one that everyone's pushing on social media. Maybe your social credit score goes down or something. So there's lots of possibilities for crypto. We just don't want people to get excited about it going up, because quite honestly, I think a lot of people are feeling the pain. And I don't know that they even want to hear about the use cases or whatever. They're probably like me. They're thinking it's not real. None of that stuff is real. The only real is either the green or the red that I see in my portfolio, whether you went long or short Bitcoin over the last few weeks. And that I can't blame them. That's a lot of us are just looking at it as a vehicle to trade. And that's why I'm harping on the psychology aspect of things. Pete, you said something interesting, that Bitcoin and the S&P are pretty heavily correlated in terms of what one market is doing could possibly pull down the other one, vice versa. They could pull each other down lower and lower. And you said that was indicative of a weak sort of market in general, markets in general. Do you have any sort of follow up on that? Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, what did I mean by that?
What did you mean by that?
Nah, so I feel like, okay, when people have disposable income and they're dumping it into stocks because it's the best place for it, if you're looking at if people are looking at the S&P and looking at Bitcoin, and S&P looks really good and it's stable, so that means that if the most popular index is stable, then I can go buy something like Bitcoin and it should also probably be so stable. And you may not even know really what you're buying, or you're not thinking about the real risk of what you're buying, but you feel better about it. And not to say it is or isn't a bad thing, but you feel better about it because the general index you were using to base that off of, it looks stable. So then when one thing starts to move down, the market was going down a little bit last week, and that kind of made things uncertain. The market doesn't like unknowns, And that was another point I was going to make earlier related to crypto, but I'll do it in a second. So the market doesn't like unknowns. So when the S&P starts crashing and there's talks of inflation and this and that, and then over in the Bitcoin, and this is of course, Bitcoin is a special one because it's so manipulated, in my opinion. But then it's easier to crash something in Bitcoin and have a reason. If you're tying it to the normal markets crashing. Of course, that wasn't what really caused this, but I mean they do ping pong off of each other even at the most basic psychological level. If you open up your phone and the S&P's red, so your stocks are red, and then crypto's also red, then that's money that is leaving your accounts or whatever, and it's making you think about it. So it's kind of like sellers can take advantage of misery loves company type thing, I guess it would be one way to put it.
Right, and it doesn't necessarily cultivate that sort of because people buy and they're much quicker to buy than sell. We saw that with Bitcoin. Like I was saying, people cope, they average down for a while until finally they can't bear it anymore, they get liquidated, whatever. But if people hear about potential upside, oh, they'll buy in a heartbeat. Oh, I'm going to get rich, whatever it is. That's the sort of the mindset. And when the S&P is down and Bitcoin is down, and maybe commodities are down, whatever. I saw $1 Extreme in the chat say gold, stocks, and ETFs took a hit after the Fed comments. The market and economies are a complete shit show right now. There you go. It doesn't necessarily lead to people sort of easily believing that, oh, we can go higher from here. And I like what you said about Bitcoin being manipulated. I really do think that Bitcoin, the chart specifically, is more so like a little play or theatrical performance that's being played out. And when China controls most of Bitcoin or holds most of Bitcoin, they can control quite a bit of that and manipulate it. And I honestly don't believe that Americans are, the average American is putting like $100 to $1,000 in Bitcoin, and I get quite a lot of people buy it, but that's what they're good for. It's retail coming in to buy the dip. They think it's going to go higher. You actually just bought a falling knife. That's kind of what America is useful for, and I guess we could view it on the macro scale. Like Americans can be kind of fat and stupid, and the Chinese can be methodical and analytical. Those are stereotypes, but I mean honestly we can simplify things down, dumb things down. So, and I also, the thing about the CCP government saying it's illegal to hold Bitcoin, that doesn't mean that the government doesn't have a whole agency tasked with making money through Bitcoin. There's no regulation saying they can't. Bitcoin's not regulated. They don't have a governing body, and that's not. Yeah, well, let me finish. What were you saying, Ryan? You gotta stop cutting me off during that sentence.
So they don't want the average person having it. They want the government is what trying to have it.
Right. Yeah, they don't want their citizens holding it, but that doesn't mean the CCP can't be in majority control of Bitcoins, especially if China holds most of them. And that's what I keep hearing. That's another thing. We don't really know who holds most of it. I try to ask, or, I try to put feelers out there, see who owns most of it. People like to be smartasses and say, oh, you don't know how this works. You don't know who the real whales are. I'm pretty sure it's China. And I'm pretty sure Bitcoin is a great sort of medium to wage economic war between countries, right? So if China wants to dump crypto or go short on Bitcoin, and maybe Elon Musk is their puppet. I don't know. I don't know if he's their friend and he's doing this to help them out. I don't know if he's doing it for his own reasons and they just happen to, be in contact with him. I doubt that China is not somehow involved, considering they play a big role in holding the supply of Bitcoin and holding much of it and mining much of it as well. So yeah, there's definitely room for China to manipulate things, and there's also no law saying that they can't. So it really is just like, open season on Bitcoin holders and retail, specifically Americans, because apparently Chinese aren't even really allowed to hold it. And I appreciate I anticipate that sentiment to probably pick up. I doubt they want their citizens getting rich off of crypto. But they can hold it, right? The CCP can have a whole arm of the government, that's tasked with economic warfare. And that was a good point that Pete made earlier on Twitter. I posted something like this as well. Modern war, we think of modern warfare as Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and there's cool drones and guns and stuff, and that's very real and true. But there's also a very real and dangerous game being played, a war game being played with information and money. Okay, so information can be anything as simple as the news or what information is making its way to you. That will influence how you behave. It can be used to control you. Can be used to hurt you or damage you as well. Same thing with money. You can lose, your portfolio can lose 50% overnight because you're invested in some, coin that has no governing body, and anyone can do anything with it and they won't be held accountable. And it's your fault. The classic line, welcome to crypto. So I really do think a lot of this can lead to more bad than good. And wow, crypto or Bitcoin is selling off right now.
Yeah, Bitcoin is stunning right now.
Stunning right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's cutting me off a little bit. I had a busy day.
You're good. You're good. Reading the chat. Wow. Okay. Not related to the show, but that's all right. They're having a little chat about eating raw meat. I appreciate that as well. Drinking raw milk. Raw milk is illegal to sell in most states. Think about that.
Really?
So, oh yeah, I guess we can bring this up real quick. And we talked about this for a little bit on last night's show. I brought it up a few times on Twitter on Sunday, talking about this week, the Bitcoin mining stocks. If you wanted to play in the stock market, sort of the downside on crypto. I said maybe take a look at puts on those stocks. And I saw this morning Riot, which is one of the big Bitcoin miners, they were down something like 17% in the morning. I think they recovered pre-market to about 12%. Still not great. And if you were looking at those puts, I'm pretty sure they paid. So these are just some of the things we discuss on the show. We try to cover the markets. Normally we do markets first, but Bitcoin has been a big topic of discussion. So we figured we'd open it up with the Bitcoin talk. But yeah, we try to cover the stock market, crypto, whatever big trends we see as well, whatever we expect to happen. And I was expecting Bitcoin mining stocks to go down. And pretty cut and dry thing. Bitcoin goes down, their margins go down, and it's not great for the company. So, wow, and Bitcoin is just stunning lower. Very interesting stuff. What's up?
Riot and all those mining companies, a lot of them, they're based in China. A lot of them are based in China.
Right.
I think Russia too is a big one, but not as big as China. And it's mainly due, again, to the hydroelectricity dams and whatnot. But have you guys been paying attention to the uranium mining markets by any chance?
I know $1 Extreme pays attention to uranium, and he's quite tapped into the situation. Maybe he has something to say in chat. I know he did a nice write-up on it. I wonder where it is. Maybe I can find it and read it for the viewers.
My bitcoins are falling.
I was trying to find it. I can't find it right now. Maybe someone else knows where it is. But yes. So as I was saying, I don't know. Maybe if Bitcoin starts selling off right here, we could see, low 30s, about 30,000 again. But try 28,000. Who's to say that it holds at 28,000? I don't know. I think some people might not like what they're seeing. I was just staring at the chart earlier thinking, what's it doing? We just had a crazy sell-off. I don't believe that people just want to buy it at this price and keep accumulating and adding and, expecting upside. And right now we're just sort of, I don't see a bottom right now. We're just kind of going lower. So maybe don't hop in when Elon tweets that Tesla has diamond hands. Maybe we can get a little bit more into that and sort of what the end game was there. We were sort of speculating on Sunday. What exactly is Elon's end game? Okay. Your company, Tesla, is holding a sizable amount of Bitcoin. Meanwhile, you, the owner of the company, are tweeting that Bitcoin is not environmentally friendly. This sends the price lower. It sends the price actually to right where you entered at, right? So the most reasonable explanation we have so far is that, Tesla wanted to load up on more Bitcoin. I don't know that should be a priority of theirs, right? They've got quite a few things to deal with in terms of production and, delays in their factories. So is that the main cause? Is that what they're focused on right now? I don't know. So that's what makes me think that maybe Elon was tweeting those things as a way of forming a narrative. If he knows Bitcoin's going to go down, or if he's got a good idea that, maybe China, the people who can mine and control most of Bitcoin, if he knows they're going to send it lower, then, and his company is holding quite a bit of it. He's gonna look dumb if he doesn't explain it in some way or shape or form. So that was my sort of alternate theory. Aside from Tesla wants more Bitcoin, which that realistically could be it, but it just doesn't seem very smart. It does not seem like a smart idea.
Man, Bitcoin is getting smacked around. You hate to see
Bitcoin
it.
getting smacked around, yeah.
At least what I've been buying recently is rare earth mineral stocks. Those are always going to be needed.
I buy gold. That's what I buy.
Yeah, for me, I'm currently invested in rare earth minerals, and that's always, at least for me, I'm just been buying and holding. I don't sell the shares. I just hold them. Those are at least for me, they've been doing well because when it comes to rare earth minerals, that's always something that, considering our day and age and how our society is run, that's something that I think is a really good. Buy. I'm not saying people should buy it. I'm not going to say that, but just for me, looking at it, like rare earth minerals, all these other natural resources are good to have because like, especially rare earth, because it's constantly being used, and it's like one of the most lucrative things in the world right now.
Wow. I'm looking at speaking of commodities, I'm looking at what Mr. $1 Extreme had to say about uranium. He does quite a bit of research on uranium. Thank you for linking me, Mr. Yak. He says, well, this is one of the posts. I'll read this one. But I saw an even bigger write-up, but maybe we'll get to that later. But $1 Extreme in our Discord, go ahead and drop a diamond for the link if you want that link. If you're not already in here, I believe most of you are. Pretty big Discord. I think there's close to 1,000 people in here. We've got topics for everything. We've got stocks, crypto, options, even some penny stocks in there, commodities, just a general investing, long-term trends type channel. A lot of people like it. So if you want in, go ahead and DM one of us, or just drop a diamond for the sentiment's sake, and we'll get you a link. But $1 Extreme says, I follow all the major uranium regulatory agencies, trade associations, and companies. I also look at the U.S. Senate lobbying information, FEC donor information, and trade publications. When I see a lobbyist on the Senate list, I look for his company, professional bios, social media, etc. I do the same for his wife. I look at their donations. I look at proposed bills in Congress and proposed rules in the Federal Register. I even compare that info to what's going on in the news. EVs getting lots of press? Great. They require electricity. Which nuclear is best at producing? Oil and gas shortages? Great. Nuclear energy shortages are rare and predictable. War in the Middle East or Ukraine? Great. Warships run on nuclear power and nuclear weapons are the ultimate deterrent. So, uranium, nuclear energy, another possible play, and I believe $1 Extreme has some high convictions about this. I haven't looked into it that much, but I do like what I see, and I do see lots of use cases, as the crypto bros are called. I see a lot of use cases for uranium. Not so much crypto quite yet, but I do believe, just to come back on that, I wasn't just joking about crypto or making fun of it. I think I see a lot of use cases for the blockchain in terms of surveillance, in terms of data storage, and publication of data as well. So there is use cases. It's just not necessarily the crypto, it's the currencies itself. It's just the sort of backbone of it, the blockchain, so to speak. So that's sort of the real value. And then in terms of cryptocurrencies and why people would want to trade and invest them, it's open 24/7. It's got no governing body as of yet, right? It's decentralized. There's also not very many laws about it. So that's sort of the value from both aspects of the trading side and also the actual technology that powers it, the blockchain. Let me read the chat and check in. Finance Groper says, energy stocks are going to be the only real secure long-term hold. That is true to an extent. Yeah, energy is going to be playing a big role. And I think that was the number one. Let me go in the investing channel and just take a look at this real quick. Yeah, so the expected growth sectors from 2020 to 2022, number one is energy. Behind that is industrials. Behind that is materials. Okay, so know this. Energy definitely going to play an important part. You've got all kinds of energy. You've got nuclear. You've got good old-fashioned oil and gas and natural gas. You've got solar energy, right? And yeah, I'm thinking we're going to need energy. So that could be a good play. And then, you've got, I don't know, what's another good hold? Maybe commodities. certain commodities are just going to see crazy spikes in prices due to inflation, due to supply chain hiccups and shortages and stuff like that. We could debate whether most of the inflation or the price jumps in commodities can be accounted for just with simple, supply chain issues. Maybe you could say they're manufactured. I don't know. I don't know about that, but it certainly is contributing to our economic state, and it's contributing to higher prices, which we don't like. But we can expect that to keep going on. Let's see. Who do I DM about the Discord? You can DM me on Twitter, and I'll link my Twitter. I'll pull it up in just a second. Anyway, let me just skim through the chat real quick. You gotta bribe us, man. You need to bribe us for the Discord link. I'm just kidding. You know what? I'll drop it in the chat. I don't feel like going through all that trouble. I will just drop it in the chat. Make sure you click on it because it's going to be disappearing in just a few short seconds. Get in here while you can. All right, let's see. Do I have anything else we need to talk about? Yeah, I think we covered a good bit of it. Yep. Absolutely, yes, Mr. Z. I got you. Yeah, you got the link. Cool, gotcha. Very interesting chat happening here tonight. Love to see it. Rare earth minerals. Yep. In the trading floor. Oh, okay, cool. That's where I saw the other one. So let me see if I can find Mr. $1 Extremes write up about uranium real quick, because I was fancying that. Come on, where is it? Man, fun happens in this trading floor. Should I just search uranium?
Fun happens here.
Fun.
When fun?
Yes, here we go. He says, as buy and hold uranium stocks, get that out of here. Here are the best. This is from $1 Extreme, and I should say anything that you hear on this show is not financial advice. It's all just opinion. Make sure you do your own research and invest at your own risk. So he says, as buy and hold uranium stocks, here are the best. CCJ, NXE, UUUU, and KAP. He says KAP is special because it's a Kazakh company, Kazakhstan, like Borat. Kazakhstan company traded on a London exchange. There's no ADR for it on a US or Canadian exchange. I believe is that a fee? Unless you go through a major investment bank. Okay. To buy KAP, you usually have to contact your broker to set up your account so you can trade stocks listed on the London exchange. I see. Okay. It doesn't have to do with fees, more so the accessibility to it. The next best are UEC ISO. URG, DNN, and U. Okay, quite a few tickers there. Okay. It says, annoying Anglo, Bagpilled, and I have been trying to figure out what's going to happen with the license issue. Bad news is okay. So basically, if you're thinking about uranium, $1 Extreme is on the case. He will tell you all about it. He's got quite a few posts in our Discord, and there's another post from Bagpilled here, and then we see. I'm not going to read all this stuff right now. I haven't skimmed through it, but yeah, basically, Bitcoin is bouncing around. This was the sort of main topic of our show today. Bitcoin is just sort of bouncing around right now, and for now, we see about it going lower. That's my expectation, is for it to go lower. I wouldn't be quick to buy this dip. Be very careful. The sort of sentiment, the overall mood towards Bitcoin is not great right now. But honestly, I think it could get worse. And someone said that, I want to read this from the chat on DLive. CJ says whales are in control of the markets, crypto markets, and they are shaking out over-leveraged traders and weak hands. Price will pump when enough people are out. Sort of goes back to what I was saying. I don't think enough people are out. I think a bunch of people bought the dip, and they probably need to get shaken out as well. And I'm not seeing enough crying Wojaks and stuff like that. I think we're still in the denial phase. We could see a little bit more before full capitulation. Maybe Kathy hops out of Bitcoin, or she says Bitcoin is no good. Kathy Wood, that is. Maybe a few more celebrities take the laser eyes off of their profile pictures on Twitter, and then we can start to go up. So for now, be very cautious. Remember your friends at the Bagtalk. They warned you. Don't get greedy, especially with crypto. That's what everyone else is doing. So do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Don't get greedy with crypto. Do take profits. Don't hold and expect it to go to the moon, unless it's some coin that's really cheap and you feel comfortable putting your money in there and seeing where it goes. Crypto does go 20,000%. Coins will have crazy returns. Just don't be focused on that too much, okay? Because nobody was really focused on the downside of crypto. Very few people were bringing you the real news with that. And a lot of people were still saying, oh, no, this is just whatever. Or, we just have to blow off right here and we'll go higher. Or, we just got a base right here and the bottom is in. None of that happened. So
our entire philosophy with the show and stuff, I feel like, is wealth, preservation and learning, some of the more, I say traditional, but options isn't exactly traditional. I do think they have their place, though, and that they're super valuable. But yeah, I mean, I think, one of our cornerstones is wealth preservation. And so, if that means not telling people not to buy Bitcoin at, 50, 60,000, or even maybe 45,000, like if you really do want it, and you miss out on some upside, then you can go get it. And I guess you could chalk it up to, telling us that we should have recommended it, but that's not something we would do just for the hype. The whole point is to preserve your money and have it in a place that's either hanging out or, pullbacks are normal, but for something like Bitcoin, shoot, if you have a Bitcoin and you see it go from one single Bitcoin, you see it go from 60,000 to now, like, what is it, like 35, 36K or whatever? I mean, that's a big, now you're hoping that it like rockets right back up, which is, not likely. So it's like, why, I don't know, why keep your money there, if you can prevent it? You just got to use those basic, risk averse strategies. And, when something seems too good to be true, or, makes you feel nervous or something, like, it's probably not a place to let your money work.
And also, basic risk analysis, and also these basic skills for analyzing the general sentiment of the market, right? Like we said earlier in the show, what is supposed to take crypto higher? Is it a bunch of, 18-year-old guys with $1,000? They're not going to be the whales, right? So what takes crypto higher? I mean, people with lots of crypto, or people buying lots of it, stuff like that. Companies investing, the overall environment being a very sort of bullish environment. But right now, you got to understand you can feel it. It's not great. And I also think it's not as bad as it's going to be in a little bit. I think it can go lower. I know people don't want to hear that. Maybe you realize losses. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. The time
Honestly,
to realize losses was earlier. Now, maybe watch some key levels, and if you got to pull the trigger because you see it going much lower, then it is what it is. But for now, just wait and see. It's probably the move.
bro, the Sam logic is perfect here. It's like, who's gonna be the guy at the bank, that has to preserve their money and be careful? Who's gonna be the guy that signs off at the very last signature on the purchase of Bitcoin? When it's like super. I mean, like, come on. I mean, you gotta be real with yourself. So if you don't have banks buying it, or at least valuing it, if they think it's all overpriced, you're relying on a bunch of people in the shadows who have a ton of the thing to have your best interest. I mean, come on, give me a break.
How about they just load up on it, right? How about they load up at 10K or 20K instead, and they don't care about you? And also, third person crew, in addition to, studying price action, knowing your risk, knowing what you're hopping into, knowing the general sentiment of the market, and, hey, also people, Doge being on SNL might have marked the top on its own. So there's things that will sort of give you hints or make you think and say, everyone's in crypto and now it's going down. Is everyone going to sell? Most likely, yes. So there's things like that also, and this is just a finance chat exclusive, listen to Shamu in the crypto channel. He's always tapped it. He's always in the crypto channel. He's trading crypto. He knows a lot about it. More so on the price action and chart side, but a lot of the times that's what you need for a good entry, or to know that, hey, crypto. I keep calling Bitcoin crypto. I mean, it is what it is, but
child for crypto.
It really is. It's the gold. It's the gold of crypto. This is the best one. But yeah. So just listen to Shamu. Basically, that's the whole episode summed up. Check him out in our Discord. Very true. He's a Bagtalk chart expert.
Oh yeah. One
Treat
thing
crypto like a penny stock. That's true. Oh yeah. What were you saying up there, Ryan?
Say, like, my personal philosophy when it comes to crypto, even if it's at 50K or whatever, I always treat it like a fucking due to how volatile it is. I always treat it like a penny stock. Never stay in longer than you feel comfortable with.
That's a great point. In a
you
lot
know,
of ways, it is like a penny stock, because you got all these penny stock companies. They're all valued at anywhere from 1 cent to $1. Very few of them ever trade outside of that range because they're not great. They're not great companies. If they were, they would be trading at a higher price. And so, same with crypto. You got 10,000 cryptos out there. Most of them are probably sub-dollar, probably for a reason. Probably because not enough eyes are on it. Not enough people see any value in the project or any future value. In a way, you're right, Orion. A lot of them are sort of like a little penny stock scheme.
Like I said, you should always treat it, no matter how high it is. You should always treat it like a penny stock in terms of when it comes to from an investment purpose. Is just treat it like that. Always be wary of market volatility, because we just saw Bitcoin to just drop over half its value right now. Like,
dang, wait. Oh, how recently did Elon say that they weren't accepting Bitcoin as a payment?
Like,
within a week, I'd say, like within a week or so.
Wow, bro. So that's crazy. They cut it off like as soon as they knew, bro.
This was on 5/12, so this was last Wednesday.
7 days ago. Oh, I wonder what the price was like 7 days ago.
Let's see.
It was fucking high. It was nearing its all-time high.
Oh yeah, the price was at about
7 days ago.
57, 59K, I think.
It was pretty high when he did it, and that just dropped.
Oh yeah, 56, 58, 59. Yeah, right in there. Damn. Yeah. So
it's too volatile.
Surprised.
You always treat
Elon
it.
knew.
Mr. Aras, when it comes to trading philosophy, we're just imagine us as fucking bank robbers, we're just
in and out like a bank robber. That's right.
In and out. You want to be in and out like a bank robber. Take your profit and run. Don't stay in any longer than you need to be.
And if you're doing something,
yeah, I was just gonna say it all depends on your size, because if you're working with a small enough amount, it's okay. If you have a 5 mil account, okay, then you're not sweating about holding a couple, Bitcoin. But if you have if you have a small account like most of us, or if you're working with a fairly small amount, that's not the investment for that type of account. If you have 10K is a lot of money, bro. It can, if you have the means to put 10K in an account and shoot for 10, 15, 20, as you're starting out % a year, and then maybe start to work for 25, 30. I mean, that's how you build up a small account, not by being in stuff that is extremely volatile, or that you really don't know about. There's just way too much opportunity elsewhere to make your dollar work.
There's lots of learning to be done. It's spending your time learning about other investment vehicles and things to trade. You're much better off spending your time with that instead of crypto, which is kind of hard to base your trades off of. The sort of.
And you'll get a lot more sleep, or a lot better sleep. More or better sleep. Not having some position that's running 24 hours a day that can half in a couple nights. You'll do more for yourself. I think properly sizing, because it's perfectly fine to speculate on an emerging market. It's just the hype and the cult following and the size of portfolios that it is for a lot of people. It just leaves you very exposed.
Jules with the donation says, and you're going to want to listen up for this one. Elon Musk, major investor in satanic underground dark energy tunnels under Torrance, California. Also major player in fake Mars mission, alien invasion, moon matrix, cryo sleep, psyop, tapped through by BOFA coin instead from Jules. Thank you, Jules, for the donation.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me read the chat one last time. I feel like I'm missing a few. Biden admin is working on funding thorium and other nuclear research and development, says $1 Extreme. You heard it here first on Bagtalk. Likely not first, but hey, we'll take the credit. Thank you, $1 Extreme.
Tesla
Yeah.
short is fun. Tesla.
That's
Are,
right,
are you
Tesla.
are you about ready to wrap it? Are you wrapping things up pretty soon?
I'm thinking we'll wrap it up in the next few minutes, but I mean, we can talk about markets. They dumped overnight last night, and today it was sort of a chop fest, and then we went higher, and then FOMC took things lower, and then we went higher. So it's a bit of a roller coaster ride. Let me see what
Normal.
futures are at.
Classic FOMC day. But yeah, I was just gonna say that I think there's a lot of opportunity out there in the market. I think Tesla's in a weird spot. It's got a big gap to fill all the way back up to 578 if it wants to, and it's at 563 now. Otherwise, it just might keep legging down.
Yeah, so
It's a fun
futures
one.
had us going right to 4,100 flat on the S&P. And I don't know, maybe we go lower, maybe we are in a range now, and then we see. So we pretty much, did we fill the gap? No, we didn't. We just went a little higher today.
I think we filled some gap on SPY, didn't we?
We did. We went above and beyond.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Jules says, buy both of these nuts. That's the coin he's talking about. Gotcha.
Got him.
Okay, got me. Got him. Pretty funny stuff, Jules. All right. So yeah, we don't know much from futures. Let me see if we got anything coming out tomorrow in terms of news. This is another thing you could possibly stay up to date on here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow we got jobless claims coming out at 8:30 a.m. That could dictate the market. No use in trying to predict things until we see those numbers, and you'll see what futures do pre-market, and you'll get a better idea. And that's the only thing that we have on the menu for tomorrow in terms of numbers. And I've covered everything here on my notebook. So yeah, I'd say we've had a pretty good show. I'm going to be watching Bitcoin just to see what happens. I don't hold any Bitcoin, by the way. I don't even necessarily trade it. I just am using it as a learning experience. There's obviously lots of conversations happening around it, lots of news. So it's perfect for watching price action, sort of knowing what's possible and figuring out what's likely. And also figuring out what the hell's going on behind the scenes with our boy Elon. He's not our boy. He's not our friend. Not a friend of the people.
Brand new
All right.
Bitcoin just hopped in.
Brand new
Like-
Bitcoin just hopped.
I was mining Litecoin back in like 2011, and I'll just say, like, if you're just now seeing this, it's such a like monopoly money thing that's going on here, and it's also very Reddit, which is not to say that it's
Yeah.
not like very instructive, and it's actually a really good way to learn about the market. But it's all like monopoly woo Reddit crap, honestly.
It's very Ponzi scheme like as well, but yeah, I mean, just use it. That's the thing. If you're gonna, and also know if you're trading it or investing in it. I don't advise investing in anything that goes down 50% in 2 weeks, right? And that's considered acceptable and regular and normal. And there's also no governing body or anything to sort of control that. Wow, you got a train passing by you there. Be careful, brother. Careful, you're not on the tracks.
The donkey's about to
Not
get
the dog.
hit.
No. That's
The donkey represents Bitcoin.
Yeah,
the train
yeah, it really
represents
does.
China,
Bitcoin belongs. And also, you can use it as an opportunity, Bitcoin specifically. Watch some videos about auction market theory and take a look at what happened. We basically left one auction zone on Bitcoin, which was sort of between 50K to 60K. We were having an auction up there. Who's willing to buy it down here? Who's willing to buy it up here? Oh, less buyers up at 60,000, more buyers at 50. At a certain point, we left that auction and we went below. Now we're in this auction down here. Who wants to buy it down at 28? Who wants to buy it up at 30, 35, 38? So, I'm sorry, what is that? 49, sorry, yeah. 29 to about 40, 45, whatever. Somewhere in that zone. There's different levels on that chart, and that's just previous price history. That's what that chart is showing. So the price has taken a few, trips to these levels before. Specifically, well, some of these levels uncharted, we were just making all-time highs. So, but the price action, the price history is there. So we left one auction zone, we entered another one, and now we see what is the fair value in this auction zone. Does it end up being, 44,000? Does it end up being 30,000? I think it's gonna take some time and bounce around here and find a sort of fair price down at these levels.
What everything you're mentioning with all these like Chinese ops that are getting running, if you're talking about like Bagtalk highlight reel, I just keep thinking about, regardless of whether it's like Robert and QD or whether it's Dogecoin and Bitcoin, I can't stop thinking of that Family Guy clip with the like, oh, you like a fucking Asian lady? He bought Bitcoin.
He did, yeah.
Oh, dude.
A lot of people got fucked. Wow. Thank you, Annoying Angel. I'm going to send that to the chat. Funny Pepe's jumping on the bed. All right. Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking it's close to bedtime. We're going to wrap up the show. And here's something new.
Dang,
does anyone have any closing remarks?
Lit.
Shoot,
I was going to say something. Damn, I just forgot.
I would say, I got one thing. Mr. R, is already being tapped into it, but I'll have a course out soon for you gentlemen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got lots of courses. Lots of courses happening.
Yeah, and it's going to be really fucking easy for people to do.
Oh, yeah, I thought of what I was going to say. New type of Bitcoin actually goes up.
That's pretty good. How long did it take to think of that and then remember it?
Hey, it was back there.
New type of Bitcoin only goes up. Actually goes up.
I promise the e-commerce channel will get updated very soon. That's something's going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Orion is our resident e-commerce guy, and if you want to learn about e-commerce, hop in our Discord. We got a channel just for e-commerce. We got a channel for land and real estate. We got a channel for, investing and trading, that kind of thing, commodities, cars. It's all there. So, make sure you're tapping into that. We spend quite a bit of time in here as well. Good place to plan out trades, things like that, and also plan out maybe your career, right? It's the kind of environment we're looking to foster here. So, as I was going to say, if no one else has any more closing remarks, tonight it will be a little bit different because we don't have Mr. Z giving them the outro. I think his mic is muted or something. He can't quite get it to work. So tonight you're going to get the outro from me. So I appreciate everybody on DLive tapping in, and YouTube. We don't forget about you, YouTube. I'm going to start sharing the YouTube link a little bit more. If you see less people in DLive, maybe some are in the YouTube, maybe you can consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you for anyone who followed. I believe somebody followed. Jose Souza, thank you for the follow. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube, follow our DLive. We do these shows every Wednesday and Sunday. I appreciate everyone who tapped in and had something to say in the chat. Thank you to everyone who donated. And just make sure you have a clear cell, bag pilled, bag talk summer. And we'll be back on Sunday. Actually, I should say Friday. We'll be back on Friday. The Sunday show will be on Friday this week. And we'll see you guys then. Thank you for another great show. I'm your host, Mr. R, and these are all the friends of the show. We welcome you guys on the show every time. Thank you everyone who was contributing throughout the show as well. And I hope you guys have a good night, and we'll see you soon. All right. So everybody, take care. Bye.
Peace.
God bless, gentlemen.
Peace out. God bless.
Thank you for watching Bagtalk, hosted by Mr. Retarded, produced by Zenrico, guests from the finance chat.